welcome, Emily, to the Locker Room podcast.
I am so excited to be here. As somebody who was a dancer for a lot of years, this is like a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So I'm really excited to be here.
Emily and I know each other because we have been in the same room for the past few years. And I was thinking about this morning, I haven't seen you in 2 whole months. It's been too long.
It has been too long.
I know. So we are part of a couple different trainings together. And I think that the great thing about being in the same room is as women who are on the same path as you is that you just get to meet new people and make friends that you never would have otherwise.
Absolutely. And I think our shared love of dance is one of the reasons that me and Amira clicked. And also Amira is like a client of mine. So she needed kind of what I coach on, which we're going to talk a lot about today. And yeah, it's so fun to meet people that are like-minded, that are as high performing and as high functioning as you are. Because it's hard to find that in your everyday life.
Yeah, definitely. So Emily mentioned she is my nervous system coach. And I joked with her because I'm like, I know that I need you. I just don't really understand. Like, I know that I need it, but I don't understand why or the why behind it. And I'm very analytical. And so can you just explain the nervous system and why it's important for everyone ultimately?
Yeah. So your nervous system, this isn't just like a woo-woo, like theoretical thing. Your nervous system has two parts, central nervous system and autonomic nervous system. What I work with my female leader clients is the autonomic nervous system. And it is essentially I want you to think about it almost as like your inner TSA like agent, constantly scanning your environment, your external world, looking for danger or safety. Are you in danger or are you safe? And when humans were created thousands of years ago and we had these nervous systems, they were actually more so there to protect us from real danger, like a wild animal chasing you. It's like that's whenever a wild animal's chasing you, what happens, right? Adrenaline pumps through your body so that you can fight, so you can flee, so you can run, so you can mobilize and move and help to save yourself, right? Or if you're standing on a busy road and like you're about to step out in front of moving traffic, it's like the adrenaline runs through your body to help you mobilize so that you don't get hit by a car. The thing that a lot of people don't realize and why I coach female leaders on this is that your nervous system is always detecting danger and safety, but it's detecting real danger and also perceived danger and threats. And so things in your life like fear of being judged, your nervous system perceives that as real danger, as real like life-threatening danger, even though it's just somebody judging you. And so I teach my clients how to regulate their nervous system so that they don't let that operate their life on a daily basis, because your nervous system is in charge of all the decisions you make every single day, from what you wear to how you show up to like literally what you're going to eat. Like your nervous system is in charge of those decisions. And why it's so important, especially for Amira, who you work with, for people that are performing, is that your nervous system is deciding how you show up before you even think about it. So a lot of dancers are like, I need like a good mindset. I need to have a lot of talent. And those things are important, but it's also really important to know the state that your body is in. And when I say state, I mean your nervous system state. Most dancers are trying to fix their performance with more reps, but a lot of dancers, their body is literally living in survival mode, and that is going to really affect their performance. And that has everything to do with your nervous system state.
Yes. Which is exactly what I told Emily. I'm like, I've been in this fight or flight probably for the past 20 something years and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
And I think as Emily mentions, she works with high performing women, mostly business owners and entrepreneurs. And the reason why I brought you on to come and talk to the dancers is, one, that you have a dance background. Two is, before we got on, we were talking about if you think that you can make it onto a pro dance team, you are already a high achieving woman. And you might be listening and you're like, oh, high achieving, that's not me. Could be a very thing that's holding you back, and it is your nervous system.
Absolutely.
There's a few things that I like always come back to with my nervous system, like regulation. And I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but the one thing that was really apparent to me was like the feelings wheel. I literally have it on in a browser. The one tab is the feelings wheel, and it just sits on my computer because I ultimately was like, I don't even know what feelings I'm feeling. I'm just going through the motions of the day. And so that has been one of the biggest things for me is, what feelings am I feeling?
Yeah.
And that also ties to your nervous system.
Yep.
So as your background as a dancer, how do you feel like a dysregulated nervous system shows up in these dancers that they might not realize?
I think that as a dancer, when you are performing and when you are like auditioning for a part, a role to be on a certain team, there's a lot of deep wiring. Like a lot of people are deeply wired that they want they have something to prove, and like making the team, they really tie that to their sense of value as a human and their worth as a human. And when you tie so much of your worth and your value to one skill set in your life, like being able to dance well enough to be able to make a team, and you're tying your value and your worth to a group of like subjective judges, like that, there's so much more to you as a human, like as a person outside of your ability as a dancer that makes up your value and your worth as a human. First of all, you're valuable and worthy as a human without any kind of unique ability. And so I think that dancers put a lot of pressure on themselves to perform and to make the team and to impress people and to prove their worth. And that can make for a very dysregulated nervous system.
And when dancers are having a dysregulated nervous system, what are some of the things that they could be feeling in that state?
Yeah, I think our nervous system talks to us in sensation. So it doesn't speak a cognitive language. And so a lot of people think I need to work on my mindset. And mindset is more like the way you think, the thoughts in your head, the lens through which you see the world, how you see certain situations. Your nervous system doesn't speak that cognitive language, like in words. Your nervous system speaks in sensation. So when I say sensation, the sensations and vibrations in your body. So butterflies in your stomach. I know that sensation from the dancing days. Chill bumps on your arms whenever you're watching a dance and it's so phenomenal and you get chills, right? It can feel like tightness in your chest. It can feel like a lump in your throat. It can feel like burning behind your eyes, hot cheeks. It can feel like tingling in your toes and or in your fingers. It literally speaks to you in bodily sensations.
Yeah.
Some of which don't feel very good. And we have to learn how to regulate through that so that we can still take action, AKA perform the dance to the best of our ability. But then some of those sensations are good. Like it's good to have the little nerves and some butterflies going into something. It means you care. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've felt all of those. I've felt those as a judge, a dancer, and getting those chills. And a lot of my dancers right now were auditioning for the 49ers Gold Rush. And I literally on Friday was watching Instagram just waiting for the announcement. And they didn't even announce until Monday. But I got the butterflies in my stomach waiting for them. And 12 girls out of 32 came through the DCC program for Gold Rush. So,
I mean, that if that ain't a testament to how amazing you are, Mira, congrats.
yeah, so that was exciting. But I also just was like feeling those nerves for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And just because like it wasn't a stressful situation for me doesn't mean that I wasn't still like feeling those feelings, which I think is interesting to just be aware of. Okay, this is my nervous system talking to me, even though like I'm not as invested as these dancers are. This is their life on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So you mentioned that a lot of dancers feel like they just might need to train more or perfect this item. What would you say? Is there something deeper going on? I know that I've heard you talk a lot about this, so I would just love for you to share, like, you don't need a million training, a million things looking for the one pieces that's going to fix you. Can you just maybe expand on that and what might be going on at a deeper level for these dancers?
Yeah. What I teach in the business world to my female leader clients is you can't out strategize like a dysregulated nervous system. And so for dancers who are training a lot, they're thinking like, oh, I just need to like practice more. I need to train more. I need to watch more. I don't even know what are dancers doing like in your world to try to get prepared.
Yeah. So the interesting thing that has been popping up lately is that they're going to a lot of different training programs and different training programs. And then like in the business space, like you are my nervous system coach. And then I have an ads coach and I have a sales coach all in this one lane, and they're not competing with each other. Whereas dancers now are like, okay, I'm going to go to this. And then they're getting like pulled in all these different ways because one person says something that is absolutely opposite than the other person.
Yeah. Okay. So that's almost like a coping mechanism, like overcompensating because their nervous system feels unsafe if they're not prepared. And so they're trying to over prepare. And so I would really recommend like sitting in the discomfort of like working with one coach who's going to teach you their proven method. Because all it's going to do if you go to like multiple programs, hire multiple coaches is confuse you, and you don't need more. And I think that's what a lot of people think is like more, but like hiring the next is just like your coping mechanism because you don't feel safe like in your own ability. And I think this is where so many high performers get stuck because they're used to like their effort working for them. Like they're like, I put in all this effort, I'm doing all this practice and it's working. But I think a lot of times more effort, more coaching, more programs can actually backfire because you're just reinforcing the pressure and the urgency and the fear, not the confidence. And I think sticking with one coach, one program, and learning that method and becoming an expert on that proven method is the thing that is going to take you the furthest. Not to mention, it's like less work for you.
Yeah. And I feel like the hard part is obviously there's no givens in business, but when you are tying your physical ability and your like artistry to an outcome,
Yeah.
it's, like so much harder to give up that control. And I like to joke with my girls that like we're all very type A. I was like the other night, I was like, how many of us consider type A? 95%.
Yeah.
And so you have these very type A personalities who want to do everything perfectly and everything the right way and prepare themselves as much. So I'm like playing devil's advocate and I'm like, okay, if I do learn from everyone else, then I'll know all the things that I need to know to get me to where I want to go. But you're saying that's just really not the case because you're just coping with that like almost perfectionism that is holding you back.
Because the perfectionism is what makes them feel safe. But like that is holding them back because then they're overtraining. They're that like more risk of injury, more risk of burnout. And I just think that it like almost takes away the like love like of dance of like why they're doing this in the first place, trying to learn from so many people at once.
Yeah.
Instead of just trusting their own ability.
Yeah. And I tell them like, hey, reminder, like we love to dance. And
Yeah.
see that while you're performing, even if you're performing with me on Zoom, not in front of anyone else. Still want to see that because that's what the judges want to see. They want to
Yeah.
see that you are entertaining and love to do what you do.
Yeah.
As type A girlies,
It's rough out here.
can you out train a dysregulated nervous system?
No, because that's not how your nervous system improves. It's like you training more is actually perpetuating the problem. Like it's like you ruminating and perpetuating the problem of tying so much of your worth and value to your ability to make a team or not. And so then if you hire all these people to coach you and then you still don't make it, then like you tied so much of your value to, like I said, the subjective opinion of like however many judges are on the panel for that day. Because obviously there's like criteria, but at the end of the day, it is subjective. Some of it I'm sure is objective, but like a lot of it is like, who do I like the best? Who looks the best? But that's like all personal preference. And so just training and training more and more is not going to improve your chances if you're stuck in a survival state.
And do you feel like your survival state and like getting out of this dysregulated system, do you think that it starts with your beliefs, with your thoughts? How do you get yourself out of this?
Yeah. In a lot of cases, it does start with your beliefs because all beliefs are is repeated thoughts that you've been told your whole life. It's if your mom told you nobody's going to marry you if you don't look this certain way, or nobody's going to think you're a good dancer if your hair doesn't look this certain way. It's like if you hear that enough times, it becomes a belief that you truly believe about yourself. And that absolutely influences the way we feel and the way we act, which gives us the result that we have in our life every day. And yeah, it's definitely rooted in beliefs, but you can't overcome those beliefs and think new thoughts if you don't process the emotions that are already there from those deep rooted beliefs that have been instilled in us since we were kids.
And how does one even begin to chip away at that?
I feel like your beliefs are like instructions that your body follows. And if you believe that you're like not the best in the room, then your body will literally shrink and hesitate and hold back. You won't perform to your potential. And so it's really questioning those beliefs, knowing that there is an option for you to think like a different way, that just because someone told you something when you were 7 years old doesn't make it the truth. You perform based on what you believe you're allowed to have. And so if you don't believe that you're like allowed to have this role as like a member of the XYZ dancing the gold rush for the 49ers or whatever, then you won't perform like you belong there. And so really working on those beliefs that you don't have to be perfect to be chosen. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that believe there's not enough spots for me, or other people are more naturally talented than I am. I'll get cut anyway, so why should I go all in? Like, I'm almost there, but I'm not quite there. Like, all of those beliefs, if you believe that about yourself, like the judges will feel that. You will operate from those beliefs. Your nervous system is all tied into that. And ultimately, you won't get the role because you won't become a member of the team. I have like more of a theater background. So I'm like the role, the ballet girl over here. But like, it really does matter what you believe. And so questioning those beliefs of like, why not me? Like, why couldn't it be me? What if the judges today are looking for someone that's exactly like me? Like going into an audition that like you believe that you're going to perform so much differently than the alternative.
Yeah. We have a like lip spot community within our program, and there's a channel for the girls to ask questions, and we have a monthly call. And some of the questions that I've gotten recently were, hey, do you think that my job is the reason why I didn't make it onto the team? There's only 2 spots this year, so I'm for sure not going to make it. What was the other one? Oh, there's girls on my college dance team who are auditioning for the same team, and they're not going to take all of that. Those are thoughts,
Belief.
beliefs, some of them circumstances, right? Like 2 spots on the team. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is circumstance. However,
Yeah.
the way that you think about it.
Yeah. What if one of those 2 spots is like actually made for you? Yeah.
Yeah. And so like
Wow.
these beliefs are the things that are holding you back because you aren't even letting yourself show up. You aren't even letting yourself invest in a training program because you
Mhm.
already are counting yourself out.
Yeah. Like people don't realize that you act through which the lens, and the lens is the beliefs, and the beliefs you think are the words that come out of your mouth. So saying things like that, there's only 2 spots. There's this many people auditioning. No way it's going to be me. All those thoughts are beliefs. And if you act through which the lens, and that's through which that's the lens through, then yeah, you absolutely are not going to act, AKA perform, behave the way that somebody on the team would. And that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a dancer who like hasn't started even training yet because she doesn't believe that she's worthy or she doesn't think that this is attainable for her. Some of this, based off of everything that you've taught me, is her nervous system trying to keep her safe.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. Safety doesn't always mean what's comfortable. Sometimes safety for us is very uncomfortable. It's okay. I'm going to use a business example because I think it'll be relatable. Or even if you have a job and you want to get a raise, let's say you want to get a raise or you want to grow your business to a certain amount or whatever that looks like. A lot of times that requires uncomfortable action to get there. And you don't want to take uncomfortable action because it's scary and it feels uncomfortable and it feels awkward and it feels all the things, right? You have self doubt about yourself. But what a lot of people don't realize is that they're already uncomfortable now. And this is where always use the example of a familiar hell versus an unfamiliar heaven. Like where you are now is familiar, but it's a familiar hell. Like it feels safe because it's familiar, but it's actually hell because you're not making the money you want to make. You don't have the business you want to make. You haven't made the team that you really want to make. You have all these dreams out here in the distance, but you're not taking a step forward to them because it feels safe to be in the familiar, to stay where you've always been. But it's a familiar hell because it's actually uncomfortable because you're not fulfilling your full potential. You're not reaching the dreams you really have for yourself versus the unfamiliar heaven, which is, okay, taking steps towards that future vision that you have for yourself, whether it's making a certain team or dancing professionally, whatever that looks like, that feels unfamiliar. And that's why we don't do it because we think it's so uncomfortable. But we have to remember that you're uncomfortable now. It's just you have to pick which discomfort you want to go for. Do you want to stay stuck and be uncomfortable or grow and be uncomfortable? So both have discomfort. It's just different outcomes.
Let's talk about auditions for a little bit because
Okay.
it's audition season right now.
Yeah.
There's dancers who are preparing for their first audition. Maybe they've been cut before, maybe they just got cut. There's a lot of emotional dysregulation, if I've ever heard of anything.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that dancers can do when they are in this heightened season?
Yeah. To talk about like right before an audition, like when you're like going to audition, like something to help regulate your body. I think a lot of times dancers feel like they need to like hype themselves up, but you're already hype. Okay. You're already hype. So you need to stabilize your body, right? We want to stabilize our body. You want to regulate your body. So just like a few ideas using your breath, exhaling longer than you inhale. So like I always say, inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath at the top and exhale for 6 seconds out of your mouth. Inhale through your nose, exhale out your mouth, but always making sure your exhale is longer than you inhale. Your body quite literally can't be in fight or flight when you are exhaling like that. So focusing on breathing that way, that tells your nervous system that you're safe. And also just like orienting and anchoring into your body, like literally feeling your feet on the floor, like with your dance shoes on, or feeling your legs and how strong they are, using your breath, like anchoring into your body, orienting to the room that you're in, like naming 5 things you see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Using your senses to really orient to the space, anchor into your body, and use your breath can truly stabilize your body so much because you're already going to have a lot of nervous energy.
Yeah. I use that a lot when I'm on walk. I've been known to be productive from the moment I wake up to the time I go to bed. And so I go on 2 walks a day, one for 15 minutes, one for 45 minutes. And most of the time, if I'm by myself and I'm not with my husband, I'll put on podcasts
Yeah.
or I'll like call someone, make sure I'm doing something. And so since I've been working with you, the 15-minute walk is non-negotiable that there's nothing going on
Yeah.
other than like me walking. 45 so good. It's a lot longer. And it's like my brain is going haywire if I don't have something to distract me. And
Yeah.
so I have been using like, especially during like stressful time, like, okay, I should not listen to a podcast right now. I should not listen to a training and
Yeah.
just breathe and be with my thought. Maybe make a little voice note if I need to, and then keep walking. And I do that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 till I just get me centered. And what's nice is like when you're in nature and you're listening for different sounds, it's unbelievable how many different sounds you hear
Yeah.
and you're actually focusing on it versus doing the normal mundane walking and just like
Yeah. I was actually sitting on my porch yesterday afternoon regulating after I'm in like the middle of my 5-day challenge that I host for my business right now. And I was doing the senses and I was just rocking on my front porch. And when I got to the sounds one, like 3 things you hear, I was like, okay, what do I hear? And I live like in a neighborhood that's like off of like a busy road. And so I guess where my house is, it's like you don't see the road, but you can hear. And so one of the things I could hear was like cars going really fast. But then if you like, and at first you're like, oh, that's all I hear. There's no other sounds. But if you like really listen, I heard like crickets or some kind of bug like in the trees. And then I heard the wind blowing like the trees and like my like bushes and stuff. And then I was only doing 3 sounds and then like a horn honked in the distance. And it brings you into the present moment of what is actually happening right now. And so often we're not doing that because we're so distracted. We're so distracted by our phones. We're so distracted by our phones. I can only imagine, especially I think probably the age group of women that you're working with. They're so distracted by their phones, their notifications, their social media apps. Like it can so distracting, and to force yourself to come into the present moment by doing the silent walk, by being with yourself without your phone, by noticing what you hear and see and taste and smell and touch. It's just so regulating.
yeah, it really is. Let's talk about being regulated in that it's not always being happy.
Oh
And
yeah,
we
calm.
speak on it a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I just talked a little bit about it, presence. I like to use the word presence like interchangeably with regulate. You're just creating presence. Just because you're creating presence doesn't mean it's like a good presence. Sometimes you're present and you're like, I'm real stressed out right now, but you need to be present with that emotion that's there right now. And so that doesn't necessarily look like you being calm. It's just you're being present with whatever emotion is available. That might be stress, that might be nerves, that might be disappointment, that might be frustration, whatever that looks like for you. It might be joy, it might be excitement, it could be a number of emotions. But 70% of human emotion is negative. Like literally 70% of human emotion is negative, and we only want to feel the positive ones, and we think something is wrong with us if we're feeling negative ones. And so being regulated isn't just feeling happy and calm and joyful all the time. Sometimes being regulated is just being present with negative emotion and being able to stay with yourself. That's what it is. It's like, can I stay with myself long enough, a little bit longer, to feel what I'm feeling without coping from it? And that's why we go to our phones, because our phones give us dopamine. Our notifications give us dopamine. Our social media gives us dopamine. Scrolling TikTok and watching funny videos give us dopamine. And we're always looking for dopamine because dopamine feels good and we never want to feel bad. But can you be the type of woman who sits in the discomfort of being present with a negative emotion just a little bit longer? Can you show yourself that you can stay with yourself in the negative feeling? That's the fastest way that you actually get to the other side, to be able to experience the calm and the peace. But that can't be your intention. You can't go into the regulation being like, I need to regulate and do these 5 senses and orient and look at my surroundings and feel my legs and all that so that I can be calm. That won't get you there, because that thought in and of itself is shaming the fact that you don't feel calm in the first place. It's, can I be present with however I'm feeling, whatever's coming up for me right now, so that I can get to the other side, whatever the other side looks like. Because sometimes regulation doesn't look like you feel good on the other side. It's just staying with yourself long enough to show your body that it's safe to feel and experience negativity, because it's a natural part of the human experience. Like we're literally the only species on Earth that has the ability to feel the way we do.
Yeah. And feeling those feelings, like, as much as I don't want someone to get cut during their
Mhm.
first experience, that experience makes you a better person, a
Yeah.
stronger person, more resilient. And as much as it absolutely completely sucks, it also shows you the things that you can work on and improve on and become better. And just being able to experience that and sit with it and be able to figure out, how do I get through it and get on the other side, is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And that's the whole point of life, like that journey. And I'm sure most of the women that you're coaching, Amira, they're young and they're like, this is everything. This is my whole existence. This is my whole life. Like they can't even see a life after professional dancing. They don't see that like this audition process, this making the team, not making the team, audition, all of that is a part of their journey and like who they're ultimately becoming in life and how those experiences of not making the team or making the team or getting cut or whatever, like truly shape who they are. And you can let that shape who you are in a positive way, or you can let it shape you in a negative way. It making the team like that ultimate destination of making whatever team, that's actually not the whole point. The whole point is the process of who you're becoming, which is like literally what the Cultivate Code does. It takes them through that journey so that they can become a more refined, resilient version of who they were before. And that's literally the whole point, because that person is going to be the person that then goes and gets a full-time job after their professional dancing career is over one day, or gets married or has kids. That is oh my gosh, my mom literally, I have to send it to you, Mira. My mom sent me an Instagram reel yesterday about how like putting your kids in dance like helps shape like how they're leaders and just like all this stuff. And it like made me like tear up. I was like, oh my God, I love that so much. And it's like that dance experience of whenever I was younger and I was going to competitions in Houston and all over the place and going to conventions and like winning the scholarships and all of that shaped me into who I am so that I can now run a 7-figure business and be the leader and coach clients and make a lot of money and impact a lot of people. And I think that my dancing actually absolutely helps me show up confidently who in the way that I do now when I get on stage, when I speak in front of people. It's how I present myself. It's all a part of that. And I remember being like a senior in high school and auditioning for the number one like roles and the different things that we were doing. And it felt like at the time, like if I didn't make it, then it was going to be like the end of the world. And it does feel that big when you're young and you're navigating that. But the wins and the losses that I experienced over the time absolutely helped me be resilient to who I am now when I experience wins and losses. And I just don't want dancers to forget that like the whole point, like this could potentially go in one ear and out the other, but the whole point is not to make the team. The whole point is like, who are you becoming? Because at the end of the day, like your professional dancing career is like a blip in the grand scheme of your entire life. It's something that's a stepping stone into what you're ultimately meant to do like a decade from now. Let it shape you. Like it can in beautiful ways if you let it.
I am who I am because of the programs that I was part of and the no's that I heard. I
Oh,
would not
okay.
be here if I had not heard a no from the Sun and moved home for the Warriors.
Yeah.
That I would not be in this position. And so it's also hearing a no and not letting it completely derail you and just be like, I guess I'm not like cut out for this.
I always say that. Use it as data. It's this no does not mean I'm a failure. It just is data on maybe some things I should tweak or maybe some things I should try different next time. So many of the most successful people in the world have heard so many no's before they got to their yes.
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
So many.
It makes me think of the movie Center Stage.
Yeah.
And like how
Of
like
course, ballet.
yeah, ballet, of course. That was like my anthem like of childhood. And how she wasn't like the best dancer, but she like made it into a program. Somebody saw something in her. She ended up getting a lead role in an unconventional way and was able to perform and like it made her into who she was going to be next. And like but she had to get a no first. Yeah.
And I'd say if you did hear no this season, last season, and you're like, yeah, maybe I'm just not cut out for it. I heard no, and this is just not my path. That could be your system just trying to keep you safe.
Oh, yes, because it doesn't feel safe to go through that process again, especially now that you've had a lived experience of being told no and of saying you're cut. And so now you have that lived experience that lives in your nervous system. And so being able to like go through that again for the potential opportunity to like make it the next time is scary. But if it's like a dream that you have, let yourself experience that again and give yourself the opportunity to hear a different answer.
Yeah. You talk about like you've been in a relationship before or not going to be in a relationship again if you've
Yeah.
broken up. That's a
Yeah.
lived experience, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to say no to finding your future spouse just because you've met some dud before.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just wanted to clarify this lived experience is just something that you've had in the past, but then you can have a lived experience again that is great and
Yeah.
exciting.
All of our lived experiences are just information.
It's only when we make them mean something that it
Yes. Because often you get cut and you make that mean that you're not good enough or you'll never make it or maybe I'm not pretty enough or maybe I need more this or I need that. And that's not what it necessarily means. It's just, oh, that was someone's subjective opinion on that day.
yeah, had a different group of girls showed up that day, it
It
could have
could have
been
been
a
a
different situation. Yeah.
Yep. Had it been one different judge, it could have been a different situation. So give yourself the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of dancers who come to me, like you mentioned, they're a little bit younger. I would say they're on the age range of 18 to like 30. A lot of them say that in one way, shape, or form that they lack confidence.
Hmm.
I don't really have an issue with confidence when
Yeah.
I just have never had it. If to someone who says, I don't believe in myself, I'm not as good as the girl next to me, I'm lacking confidence. Well,
Yeah. The thing that I believe about confidence is bravery compounded over time. And I think that saying you need to train more to feel more confident is a lie that like a lot of high performers tell themselves. It's once I'm better, I'll feel more confident. But confidence is not built from perfection. It's built from your body learning it's safe to show up before you feel ready. And showing up before you feel ready looks like bravery. It's like showing up bravery. And so maybe it takes you 7 auditions. I don't know what the like average is that people are going on. Maybe it takes you 7 auditions and every single one is like a 10% braver move and a 10% braver move. And each time you get a little more brave. And by the seventh one, you all of a sudden are more confident than you were at the first one because bravery compounds over time. And that's all confidence is. I think about in my business, this is so funny. I literally, right before this call, I like how Facebook shows you old memories. And I started like my like business career in like the MLM world. And so I got a memory from 9 years ago. And it was a picture of a invitation where I had invited people to come to a Mexican restaurant to do like margaritas and I don't even know what it was, margaritas and masks or face masks or something. And it was at a Mexican restaurant. It was like April 14th, like what's 9 years ago, like 2017. We only had 2 kids then. We lived in Louisiana. And it was like a visceral reaction seeing that. I was like, wow, I remember how nervous I was at that event. And now I host in-person events that cost tens of thousands of dollars and I make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of putting them on. And it's way higher stakes and very luxurious and all the things. And I'm like, I was so nervous to meet 7 women at a Mexican restaurant to try to like get them to buy like a skincare line from me 9 years ago. But do you know how I got better at and more confident at hosting in-person events? By doing them really scared like I did 9 years ago. That's how I got better. That's how the confidence happened. I took brave steps. I had to be super brave to show up. No, not knowing, is anyone even going to show up? Oh my God, it's like my mom showing up and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law and like my neighbor. But I had to start somewhere and take brave steps over time in order for the confidence to compound. And here I am now. And I'm like so confident in hosting an event, but I didn't start off this way.
yeah. And you're speaking to the be do have model, right? Can you expand on that for anyone who doesn't know about that?
Yeah. Be do have is basically a lot of people think that they have the model backwards. So they think I need to do first and then I'll have, and then I'll be the person that I want to be, or I'll have the life. But so they start with the do, but really you actually have to be the person first. And so what happens is that a lot of high performers, they feel technically ready, but like their identity hasn't caught up. And when I say your identity, I mean who you're being, like who you actually are on a daily level, right? And they subconsciously will hold themselves back because they're not fully showing up. Because if they fully showed up, it would almost like create a mismatch because that's not how they see themselves. And so what I believe is that you have to, instead of proving that you deserve to be there, like at the audition or on the team, you have to start acting like someone who already belongs. And that's the being. That's why it's be to have, because you have to actually be that girl, which is my whole brand, before you actually are her. And so when a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I have imposter syndrome. Like, I feel like an imposter. Like, I want to be on the Gold Rush team, but I don't feel like I belong there. It's like, girl, you got to pretend like you do belong there. And I say that like there's no problem if you feel like an imposter, because like you should be walking around as an imposter all day, every day, because you're always trying to be someone that you're not yet. You're trying to be who is she? Who is like a dancer? Who is a warriors dancer? Who is a Suns dancer? Like who are they? Like at a core level, how do they carry themselves? How do they dress? What is their morning routine? Like who are they being? Are you being her now? Are you being that girl now? Because that's how you will belong. In order to have the life you want, being on the team, you actually have to be on, like you have to be that person first. That person will naturally do the things that dancer would do. And then you will have what you want, which is ultimately being on that team that you prefer. And so start acting like someone who already belongs, not arrogantly, but from just grounded certainty. The girls who I feel like make the team are probably the ones that are regulated enough to be okay being seen, to be okay with that visibility. And so it's not about starting with doing more, which is what all people do. They're like, I need to do more. That's what you were talking about. I need to do this program. You do this program. You do this program. You need to start with becoming someone different, becoming someone that's more resource. It's like, does a Suns dancer have her hair fixed a certain way every place she goes? Does she not look like a flob kebab when she walks out of her house? Is she dressed like to impress all the time? If that's who she is, then you better be her now. Like you better be that girl now. Regulate your body, notice your patterns, stop outsourcing your confidence to the outcomes in your life, because so many people get a certain outcome and they're like, oh, that just killed my confidence, or that just built my confidence. And it's just be confident who you are already as a person. I think that the version of you who makes the team isn't just like more trained. She's more available for the visibility and to be seen, and she's more confident, but it's because she's confident in who she is no matter what the outcome is.
Yeah. We talked a lot about like your pro dance identity and how you show up and who you show up as. And to your point, it's like, how are these dancers showing up? So my first year on Warriors, our coach was like, you guys look like flop kebabs and you will never look like this ever again in my presence. She like adopted us basically. She didn't choose the team. And we showed up before our spray tans for calendar shoot, and we had hair on top of our heads, big baggy clothes. We're at our gym that we practiced in. And she was like, the way that you guys look right now is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Because fans,
Your representation.
yes, fans come to this gym. They know that you're the Warriors dance team. They know that like they might never see you at a game, but they'll see you here and they're looking at you and judging you. And so you want to represent it. It's not out of this vanity of you need to look this certain way or you need to be this certain person.
But it makes you act differently. I always think about Macy, who's one of our coaches that Namira work with, and she was talking about building her business to like a $20 million business. And she was like, who is like $20 million Macy? Who would that woman be? The person who has a $20 million business. And I just remember this vivid example she gave, which I feel like is a tangible example that will help the listeners right now be like, oh, that's what she means by who are you being? Macy was like, $20 million Macy will like never have like pretzels in her Chanel bag, like snacks in her Chanel bag. I would always have like pretzels like in my purse, like for a little like snack midday. And she's like, I knew that like $20 million Macy, the person who owns the $20 million company, is not going to have pretzels like in my Chanel bag. And so she was like, I need to stop having pretzels in my Chanel bag now. So it's like, as you operate throughout your day, like, who are you being? Like, is your car a mess? Is your room a mess? Do you make your bed every day? It's like, who are you being? Like that, when you start being someone different, when you start being like the Warriors dancer, the Suns dancer, the Gold Rush dancer, like when you start being her, you naturally start doing different things. You start acting differently. You start showing up differently. That's when you get to have the life you want. That's when you get to have ultimately what you want, which is to be on that team. But you have to be her first. You cannot just think, I need to do all these things first. It starts with being.
Yeah. This morning, I was supposed to have a call with a dancer who was applying for our program. You have to apply to join our program. And she, in her like intake form, she was like, I don't know anything about this world. So I'm new to it. She was a dancer. She's a really actually good dancer because they send in videos. And she's like, I don't know anything about this world. And reading that, I was like, this girl's going to cancel her call. I already know it. She canceled and said, hey, like she said, hey, Maria, one red flag.
Yeah.
I can't make it due to scheduling conflict. That just shows me like the lack of professionalism. She did email me ahead of time, like an hour ahead, which was like, some people don't do that.
Yeah.
So that shows me like a little bit of professionalism, but just the overarching expectation this world has of you being a brand ambassador, you being a professional, that is almost more important than you being a very good technician and a great dancer. It's like brand ambassador professional because you're representing $1 billion brand, an organization. one. Then it's like your entertainment factor. And then it's your technical ability.
Yeah.
And so like I was thinking about this girl and I was like, we have TCC standards. You have to have hair and makeup ready when you come to class. You have to have your camera on. You're in a 2-piece practicing every single time. And I was thinking about it, I was like, the girls in my program have been slacking. So I wrote a little message to myself, a little note this morning. And I was like, I have to film a video for everyone because we are not upholding the standards that were originally set in the program to begin with. And
Yeah.
we've been showing up in pajamas. We've been showing up with our hair messy, all those things.
Yeah.
And that I think Macy has talked about being really casual about our expectations or like casually coming to prepare versus preparing like the pro that we need to. And those
Yeah.
are very different like intentions behind how you show up.
Yeah, so important. And one of Macy's things is like for her $20 million race, she's Macy, $20 million Macy always gets ready. And so she's like, getting ready doesn't always look like, how I look right now. Sometimes it looks like just like a matching workout outfit with like my hair pulled back into like a neat ponytail with like lip gloss on. That might be like her version of ready, but she's like, I'm not about to walk to the mailbox or go to Waffle House on a Saturday morning looking like a mess. And it's, I don't think people realize when you're being that version, a different version of you like that, how much that translates into who you are and what you do. And that ultimately gives you the result that you have in your life. So take it seriously, girls. It's a very important thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was so good. I'm going to end it there because I literally could keep on talking to you about this all day long because this is such an untapped world, I feel. And so many dancers just lack confidence. And
Yeah.
all of that is tied, at least in my opinion, to some sort of nervous system dysregulation and everything that you talk about. And so it was so helpful just to hear from you, your experience as a nervous system coach, as well as a dancer, and being able to tie those two things together. Where can our dancers find you and connect with you?
Yeah. So I have a podcast. It's Be That Girl podcast. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, all the normal ones. And then also Instagram is probably the place that I'm the most active. I release a podcast episode every other week, but on Instagram, I'm there like pretty much every day. That girl, Emily Judice, is my Instagram handle. And come follow, come say hello.
Yeah, I will leave all of that in the show notes and I'll also link to Emily's website so you guys can see. And it was so great having you today.
Thank you so much, Amira.